Hey, 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 everyone. I'm so excited to be on here today with the amazing Ashley Denton. Ashley, it's kind of funny. Like, I have so many ties back to the area where you are right now. My mother actually was raised in Rigby, Idaho. I have an Uncle Brad that lives there and my Aunt Lana. I've got cousins that live there. My great grandmother, interestingly enough, is buried in the Rigby
Oh,
Cemetery. I just sent a congratulations gift to a friend who just opened a new salon, the Hair
oh,
Wranglers, in
oh,
Rigby, Idaho, right there on Main Street. And so I just love that we're getting to like tune in here with you today, spotlight you as a speaker for the upcoming conference. And I'm just like, I'm so stoked about it. And I want to go ahead and just ask you a couple questions about what you do. Then I'm going to turn the time over to you because I know you wanted to do a sneak peek today about the Sandy Conference. Those of you who are watching right now, will you go ahead and jump in the comments here? And maybe, do you have any ties to the Rigby area, to Idaho? And then maybe just tell us like where you're tuning in from as well. So, Ashley, I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to you. Tell us how you got into this work.
okay. Well, it's a long story, but I'll make it short. I have suffered from rheumatoid arthritis for over 15 years, and it has been very severe. And I could show you my hands just to tell you exactly how severe this has been. And I made a discovery that is so important to share with the world because the stars had to align so perfectly for me to discover what I discovered. And um, well, I guess before I talk about that, I want to talk more about my journey with chronic pain. And um, and a part of the discovery was the reality of physical empathy and generational trauma. And um, through my journey with rheumatoid arthritis, I tried all the medications that they could possibly give me: methotrexate, leflunomide, steroids, Plaquenil, you name it. And I wanted so desperately to feel good in my body. And I didn't feel like that was possible. And I suffered so much from the side effects of my medications that I often struggled trying to decide which would be better, just the disease itself or
Oh,
the side
really?
effects, yeah, of the medications, hair loss, weight gain, weight loss, all over the board, nausea. And so I spent most of my time going that route with medication, trying to silence the symptoms. But I didn't realize that my body was just trying to talk to me. So I'm like silencing the symptoms, and my body's like, okay, well, I'm trying to send you a message. So I guess I'll get louder. And I played that game for a very long time also.
Yeah.
And at the darkest time in my journey with rheumatoid arthritis, I couldn't lift my children. I couldn't dress myself in the morning because the morning stiffness lasted so long. And so I would get dressed the night before so I could be up and ready to take care of my kids in the morning. And we moved to a new home. And when my family came to see it, they celebrated that it was wheelchair accessible. And I realized how severe this was. But something was whispering in my heart through this whole journey that humans were not meant to be chronic. The word chronic, is like you're stuck and you're not moving forward, you're not moving backward, like you can't move at all. And that's not why I came here. I knew that's not what my purpose wasn't, to just come here and be chronic. And but I didn't know what to do about that. So I read all these books. I dove into energy work, which was very healing and very helpful for me. But what I didn't know is that I was recreating the patterns that caused the energy that made me sick continuously. And so the discovery that I want to talk about is that, in the dark night of the soul that I went through, I ended up studying my family history, which is a really weird place to go. but I had an ancestor named Lorenzo Hill Hatch, and he kept a journal from the years 1855 to 1906. And I actually have a picture of him. I'll show you if there's not a glare.
Mhm. Yeah, there
And
was no glare. That was good.
oh, good. And this man is precious to me. I feel like he's a guardian angel for me. And when in his journal, he wrote about his health, his family, his environment, his money, everything. And I was, as I studied his journal, the symptoms that he talked about a lot, they felt so similar to mine. And he often found himself, bedridden. And there were patterns that I was noticing. I don't know if anyone of you guys remember those 3D pictures that we had. It was a big thing in the 90s, and you stare at the picture for a long time, and all of a sudden the picture rises off of the page. And as I was studying my grandfather's journal, I realized that that's what happened. It's like the patterns that were making my grandfather sick lifted off of the page. And I saw myself in those patterns. And I realized that I was living the same kind of patterns that were making me sick the way they made him sick. And while I was studying this journal, I was actually in physical therapy for my left shoulder because I couldn't lift it higher than, I couldn't lift it at all. I actually had to wash my hair in the shower upside down because I couldn't lift my arm at all. But when I was studying his journal, he said, I suffered much from rheumatism in my left shoulder. And when I read that line, I realized, wow, this is for real. I'm living a generational wound and repeating the trauma that's causing me to be sick the same way my grandfather was sick. And so when I discontinued living in these patterns, my symptoms lifted completely. And my goal as a life coach is to share this message with everyone that I can, because we are not meant to be in a state of hopelessness and in a state of stuckness. And so I developed a program called Here Comes the Sun. And in this program, I walk you through these patterns and I help you to release these patterns and discover even more of the your own patterns that you might have. And I also help you tap into the language of your body and help you realize that it is your greatest gift. And that's what my class is going to be about. I'm super excited.
That sounds amazing. Well, I know you've given me a link for people to be able to connect with you. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Yes. I am offering a free discovery call, and people can just click on this link and discuss this further with me to see if I can help you in your own personal journey towards wholeness and discovering your magic as a physical empath.
That's awesome. Okay, now some people are going to want more information than that because they've never done a discovery call or they don't know what that's like. So tell us about like maybe the time frame. What does that look like for them?
Okay.
And then any obligations or anything like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's no obligations with the call. You just can click the link and set up a time that works for you. And the call will be a 30-minute call with me discussing how I can help you and any further questions that you might have about the program.
Cool. Well, that sounds really good. The type of person that you typically work with, do they already have to have discovered a generational link in one of their their ancestors, or vice versa?
Yeah, right. No, not at all, actually. We may never know what happened before. I feel very lucky that my grandfather kept this journal, because otherwise I wouldn't know this truth. And so really, we just focus in on your body and how your body's speaking to you. We tap into your energy, and receive those messages and move forward. And I'm there to coach you along the way, because really the answers to your healing are not outside of you. They're right here. They're inside of you. And I'm just here to help you discover what it is, and to support you every step of the way.
That is awesome. Well, I love it, and it sounds amazing. And I'm excited that you're speaking at this conference,
I'm so
and
excited.
that you have this coming up. Now, did I remember right? Are you working on a book?
Oh my goodness, yes, I'm working on a book, and
Tell us about that.
I'm almost finished, and it goes through my whole journey, from childhood up to adulthood, and I do my best to highlight these patterns in my own life, and then I go into my grandfather's story and do the same with his and parallel them, so you can see how real this is. Um, and yeah, I'm very excited. I'm like so close to being finished.
That is so exciting. Well, doing a book is a labor of love, so I think it's pretty cool that you're doing that. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before we let you go today?
Nope, I'm just so excited to reach out. Hopefully, I can meet you guys in my class. I would love to connect.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. Mwah.
Okay,
We'll see
thanks,
you next
Tammy.
time. Absolutely. You guys, she is adorable. I'm so excited. After I looked at her website, some of the information that she has, I knew that I had to have her speak at our conference. If you are unfamiliar with generational type symptoms and healing, maybe that's something that's new to you. I would highly recommend, there's a couple of books that kind of bring it home. And it could apply to anyone, anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter where they're from, their age, their gender, like none of that matters. I feel like the evidence based part of me really longed for that until I found this book, and it really brings it home. So I'm going to recommend a couple of books if this is something that you're really interested in. The first one is, drum roll please. Does everybody have their pens ready? Go to Audible and you can find this book called It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wolynn. And if you want to see kind of what the cover looks like, let me pull that up for you. I'm on like my fifth time reading it. This is what the cover of the book looks like. It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wolynn. And my husband and I have been listening to it together, and then we come back and we talk about like the different things that we learned in it. And generational healing has just been really fascinating to me. So I love that Ashley's bringing a different perspective to it. She's not just saying like, let's do some energy healing outlet. She's saying like, let's look at the patterns that we're finding ourselves in, and then what can we do to shift that to be able to bring that home. Do you guys know of any other books? I'd love to be able to get your feedback, your opinions on that. We also have another fantastic speaker on our schedule that's going to be speaking on generational healing as well, and that is Crystal Rasmussen. She always comes in from the Sacramento area, so she's another really great one. We also have another book that we recommend that you look at. This one is a little dry. This is just my opinion. I'm sorry if you're the author. I just give my honest feedback here. The book is called The Body Keeps the Score. It is dry, but it's got some great information in it. The other thing that I would recommend with this one is, I think it's specifically written for healthcare providers, so that they see that it is an evidence-based thing, that your body is holding trauma inside. Your body is a recording machine that is holding it. And so when you do different things, it can help to release it. So The Body Keeps the Score is the name of it, and it's by Bessel van der Kolk, who is a medical doctor. The subtitle of this particular book is Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you as well, in case you guys are just like, well, I want more. Another really good one that I recommend quite often is called The Biology of Belief. This particular book is written by Dr. Bruce J. Lipton. This is some really fantastic stuff. These books that I'm talking about are more for generational healing, also for how the body keeps, is a recording machine and keeps that information. So if you yourself have been through something, that you're like, oh no, I'm over that, but yet you still keep having these reoccurring chronic conditions. I mean, I'm not saying that it is, and I'm not saying that it isn't, but I'm saying maybe look at it from a different perspective. I'm really grateful for the things that I personally have been able to find and the healing also. I've personally am doing some hypnotherapy. I do light therapy every day for my own brain injury that I experienced back in March. And people are like, whoa, you just talk about it so openly. I'm like, yeah, because real life, like real humanness, means that things happen from time to time. You know, not everything's perfect. And the thing is, you talking about that kind of helps shine light on other people for what they're going through, to give them hope. And that's kind of what I hope to do by doing that. Not like going, oh, I'm going to do all this stuff. Like, no, like, hey, sometimes things happen, and it's nice to be able to have different answers. Um, Another really good one that I personally have been listening to recently. I guess it's not really a book. I guess it's more of a series. Oh, it looks like our speaker's on. Dr. John Harmon. I think I might just bring him on a little bit early if he's game. You game? We've got another spotlight speaker who is just off the chart, so much fun. I can't wait to bring him on. He's such a blast. I'm going to just go ahead and pull him right up here. How are you?
I'm great, Tammy. How are you?
So good. I always feel like your background is like you're in this French chateau. You know, it's like this beautiful. Oh my gosh, that place looks so beautiful. Is that your home?
That's my virtual home.
Got it. So it is a French chateau. I
It
love it.
is.
Well, sir, you have been to many of our conferences, and you have personally helped me um, multiple times. I love how you teach. You're so fun. You're like edutainment, you know. People laugh. People are like shown different things. You like to demonstrate and show things, not just talk about things, which I really love that about you. I'm. Do you mind? Can I just turn the time right over to you? You know your stuff really well. I'd love to be able to
Sure.
turn this
I'm
over to
ready
you.
when you are.
All right, let's do this.
Well, thanks so much, Tammy. I really appreciate Tammy Ward and everything she's done to help bring energy healing to the forefront. It's time. We are not um, beings that have an absence of a chemical from a drugstore, and that's what causes us to be a little bit sick. So I want to really hand it to her for her efforts. She is going 100 miles an hour almost all year long, bringing these conferences to everybody, and I really appreciate that in her. I have studied energy healing for a very long time, even when I was in chiropractic college, way back in the 80s. Yes, I'm almost 70 now. I've been doing some reverse aging things with stem cell activation that I'll be telling you about. I hope you stick around, and I hope to make it meaningful to you in your journey. If this is your first foray into energy healing, if this is the first you're hearing about it, man, you're in for a really real treat. I would assume that most people on this call have some basic concept, at least at the minimum, about energy healing and are just eager to learn more. I found that people who are in energy healing, most of us want to spread it around. We want to help people. It's not something that you hide and you can't stop talking about it. It's like the people who've hugged trees their whole life. They've always been right, by the way. Trees give off an energy as well that we feel, but sometimes we've been, marginalized and ridiculed and isolated. But it's gaining more and more respect as new types of energy healing come out, and the key ways to measure it, because as you're going to see in this presentation, we only see a small, very small portion of what's going on around us. So we need machines to help us look at the changes that are happening with energy healing. So I'm going to do a screen share, and Tammy, I don't see a screen share on her, on here, excuse me.
That one's not going to work, the one that we have. But it says Midge on it. So do you have another one that you're trying to share? Can you hear me?
Mine is totally different.
Okay.
Maybe you could hand that over to me, and then Midge could share it later.
Yeah, Midge's is off, and I don't see anything from you. Do you have another one?
Where should I share it?
If you just click share, then it takes me like 5 seconds to approve it real quick.
There's no share button.
Down at the bottom, it should say present or something like that.
Oh, there we go. Sorry about that.
You're good. This is a totally different platform. We're on StreamYard, so we're on like YouTube, we're on a bunch of groups, and we're on a whole bunch of different places so that a lot more people can see us.
Awesome. Can you see that now? All right. Well, she already introduced me. Don't need to talk about me much more, but I've been a chiropractor for 32 years. I'm board certified in QEEG. That is the measurement, the electrical measurement of the brain, what it means and what we can do about it where there's imbalances. Father of 8 kids, grandfather of 24. That's loving chaos. That's what it is right there. Founder and owner of Clear Mind Centers of Idaho. We have 2 locations, one in Boise and one in Meridian. And we help people get their brains right. And my contact information, if you have any questions about any of this stuff, drjharmon@gmail.com. I hope that I can really spark, if this is your first time, I really want to spark some interest in energy healing. If it's not, I hope to be able to help you see things in a little broader scope and to really gain a deeper understanding of what's going on around us. Not only that, but what your influence is on your people around you, your surroundings. It just doesn't happen locally around you. You have the potential of literally affecting people globally. And I have to tell you, about 10 years ago, I sat in my chiropractic waiting room, my office, and I just wanted to help people. So I see so much pain and dysfunction in the world, and I put out this intention. I want to expand my circle of good, or for good, my circle of influence for good globally. Little did I know what was going to have to happen to get to that point. It involved a suicide, a murder, and a bone infection to get me to the point where I am now, where I am actually, I've been on internet radio stations that reach globally, different YouTube channels, talking about what I'm talking about today. So it's been interesting to see that. And I want to, as I was preparing this, I thought about a couple of things. First of all, there may be some people on this call who really don't understand their worth and their value in affecting the world, or even people in your close circle. And I hope by some of the things I share, more so, even more so than talking about this company, the products that I'm going to share, I hope that you see and that you are motivated by my words to increase your circle for good, whatever that looks like, excuse me. Some of you also may be looking for meaningful work. We all seek that. A lot of changes have happened over the last 2 or 3 years, and some people are tired of working for someone where they can control them and shut down and all of those things. And you may be looking for something. I want to encourage you to go to the Energy Healing Conference. There are so many wonderful products and ways of healing, helping heal people, and go seek something out. If it's this, great. If it's something else, great. But go around, look at all of the different means of healing, and see what resonates with you and just resonates with your soul, and you know that you would love to help people with doing this. When I was preparing this presentation, a woman I didn't know reached out to me from Facebook, and she saw my presentation at one of the energy healing conferences over a year ago. I don't recall her saying which one it was, but she saw a picture of a little boy's fingertip that was cut off that actually regrew through the use of this new stem cell activation technology I'm going to show you. And here it is. Sorry if it grosses somebody out, but here's a little boy's fingertip that was cut off. The surgeon refused at first to sew it back on because he said it's going to die. I want to tell you, this black right here indicates that it died. That's necrosis. That's necrotic tissue. However, the use of the new stem cell activation technology, the fingertip was able to grow back. She saw this, and then she had a friend of a friend on her Facebook page post something about her little boy's fingertip that was cut off, and she reached out to me to tell me what happened. And I'm telling you, it warmed my heart because it speaks to this ripple effect. You start something in motion, and you never know who that's going to benefit or affect. So here it is. She talks about her nephew, and the surgeon sewed it back on. But here's the greater story. We pleaded, after 4 doctors said they could not, or would not attach Pinky back for certain reasons, I just couldn't accept that. So what she did, this girl, the surgeon sewed it back on, and this girl reached out to her and got her some of stem cell activation patches. The fingertips started to grow back on, and then you'll see it's still healing here. This is the latest picture that I have from them, but it reattached after all of those surgeons said it would not. This is the ripple effect that I'm talking about. And we all have the power to set good things for healing in motion, with our thoughts, with our words, with our intentions. We talk about energy. There's physical energy. Here is Newton's law in action. There's equal force. For every force, there's an equal and opposite force. But then there is a different type of force. There's a different type of energy. What I'm talking about is creating a ripple effect that transforms the world around you, not just physically, but energetically. Whose ripple effect is like this? Wee, wee, wee. I go around. This reminds me of my intentions is to start a lot of ripple effects all over the world and help people. I can tell you just by who's on this call that most everybody has a pretty good concept of what's going on here. And you read at the bottom, did you know our soul is composed of harmony? You can look at disease as a form of disharmony. Then it talks about that there's no organ or tissue in our body that's not affected by sound, music, and vibration. Truly, they could have just said vibration because everything is just a different vibration, whether it's sound or light. We open our eyes and we think we're seeing the whole world out there, but what has become clear and really just in the last few centuries is that when you look at the electromagnetic spectrum, we are seeing less than 1/10 billionth of the information that's riding on there. So we call that visible light, but everything else passing through our bodies is completely invisible to us. We're going to go back to this slide before, and I went the wrong direction. So this slide, you see these frequencies passing through this frame, this human frame. Well, what is that? It's your next door neighbor's Wi-Fi when you're in your own house. It's your it's 5G, it's 4G, it's thoughts of other people, it's frequencies from plants. What's really interesting, the researchers have figured out the collective sounds of the earth combine to form the letter F, the frequency of F, and it corresponds to the color green. Isn't that cool? I heard that. I thought, well, that sounds about right. So you see this stuff and it's passing through us. What about what is not shown on this? And that is this. What about the frequencies given off by humans? We glow. We just can't see it. Researchers figured out it's not just the infrared heat that you see on infrared goggles. It is visible light. We just can't see it with our own eyes. At least most of us can't. But researchers figured out we glow, and it's more prominent around the forehead, the neck, and the cheeks. And in the later afternoon, and not so bright at night. So I want to ask a question. Who, if you'll put in the chat, who can feel this energy on human beings, plants, whatever? Put it in the chat. Who can feel it? And then I want you to put in the chat, who can see that energy? My daughter can. My fourth daughter, I have 5 daughters and 3 sons. My fourth daughter can actually see it. We thought she was kind of weird when she was little. We thought she was seeing things. Well, she was seeing energy. So we are going to be talking about a technology that uses that energy that we emit. It actually recycles our own energy and gets it back into us, concentrated, and like a light switch, turns on different pathways in our body. The power that is used by the patch, your body already has and is using. I want you to imagine you walk into a jewelry store, and you walk up to the cabinet that has all the diamonds in it, and you're looking at them, and there are bright white lights shining on them, and you're looking at the diamonds, and you see red and yellow and green and blue. You see all these colors. What the heck is that? The diamonds aren't those colors. Well, that's light being reflected out, and we see it with our eyes because the diamonds refract or separate those colors. All of those frequencies are in white light. You just can't see it. Well, I want you to compare. Your body is the bright white light. The patch that I'm talking about is the diamond. It has a new form of crystal structure in it that only reflects back certain portions of your own light and gets it back into your body to do different things. The X39 patch is the patch that activates our own stem cell production. So over a very long period of time, you can regenerate things. You get a time release of stems, your very own stem cells. Nothing goes from the patch into your body. It is simply reflecting back some of your own light back into you that is used to turn on different pathways. So LifeWave has a number of different patches, and we invite you to come, and as you go around the Energy Healing Conference, look at all of the other things. This is probably the only one that does not require a battery or a light, a socket. It's not powered by electricity from an outside source. It's actually powered by your energy you are already making. And today, I'm going to tell you also about one of our other patches, and you're going to have to come to the Energy Healing Conference to learn all of the things about these patches, but there isn't enough time to go into detail about the science. But the X39 is the stem cell activation patch. The X49 is the founder's latest invention. And what it does, it actually blocks those EMFs, 5G, 4G, and others, and also increases bone density. There's a study coming out that it showed that it helps reverse bone density loss. You know, as we age, that becomes a really big issue for both men and women. We start to lose bone density, and now we're at risk for fractures and other things. Now, I got to tell you, we don't cure any disease. We don't prevent diseases. We don't treat them. But we can assist the body with our own energy reflected back into our bodies. And so Midge Woods, the sponsor of my presentation at the conference, is offering a free 2-day supply of both the X49 and the X39 for everybody on this Facebook Live. So what you'll need to do is send an email to lifewave.midgewoods@gmail.com. I'll leave this up there for a second. lifewave.midgewoods@gmail.com. And you can come to the booth at the Energy Healing Conference, or if you can't make it to that, I think she's going to mail some, but you can come by the booth and we will actually show you how it blocks 5G. So there's a way we can do it with your own cell phone, and we will demonstrate that to you. I'm going to do that during my presentation as well, but we can actually test each individual person at the booth. It's dramatic. And what it does, the X49 signals your body to make more of a naturally occurring peptide that basically forms a Faraday cage inside of you to shield you from those EMFs. I've had patients who have not been able to lie on my table if the table was plugged in. They're so electrosensitive that some of you may be that way and had to move out into the country away from all of the pollution, the EMF pollution, just to try to maintain some semblance of health. It's something that I don't think we're going to prevent. I don't think we have enough money to fight Verizon and everybody else putting those up. They're talking about 20,000 satellites with 5G. So protect yourself. Come by the booth. We will show you how you can protect yourself. I really want to thank you. Thank Tammy for having me on today. I hope that I was able to stoke some fires inside of you to do several things, and that is increase your circle of influence for good through your neighborhood, through your city, through your state, in the world, and understand your value. Excuse me. I knew that was coming. Understand your value. We all have value, and start somewhere. Find something you can put your efforts into at the Energy Healing Conference that resonates with you. This is one of my favorite quotes. The tragedy of life is not death, but what we let die inside of us while we live. That is so applicable to your ripple effect, and so applicable to this energy healing that we're doing. So come by and say hi. Tell me if I started a ripple in your life. I would love to hear that. Those things give me about 2 weeks of endorphins when I hear those things. So I really appreciate your attention. I don't know if we have any time for any questions at all. Tammy?
Yeah, hey.
Hello, I'm back.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Well, I've just been looking at some of the stuff that other people have said recently about the Life Wave. And some of those pictures you showed were like really graphic. I'm like, oh, we should have done a trigger warning. But yeah, they can be pretty intense. My 2-year-old brother, when I was 10, I ran him over with a lawnmower on accident.
Oh
And
my gosh.
I didn't know how to stop it, and it was the type of lawnmower that you pull the handle down and it would go, and it would just go until you let it go. But nobody told me how to stop it. And
Wow.
so when he like was walking and he fell in front of it, I just went right over the top of him. And I mean, I honestly, I'm really lucky that he didn't get, more hurt. But his kneecap was taken off by the blade because he tried
Wow.
to get up. He lifted his knee. He lifted his leg, was trying to get up as it was just sitting on top of him. And then I literally felt hands. I still don't know how to quite equate it with my own belief systems now. But what happened was I felt other hands on top of mine, push down, pull back, pulled me all the way back until the lawnmower was down, and then let me go. And then I saw, this awful scene in front of me. And what I wouldn't have given to have those patches for my brother back then, because we couldn't find his kneecap. We couldn't find the other missing parts of his leg. And he had
Wow.
to undergo some very intense surgeries. They did tell him that he would never walk. He definitely walks. And he's very active and everything. He did karate and hockey and all kinds of stuff, soccer and stuff. But it didn't come without a cost. Major scarring. You
Right.
can't even hardly bump that part of the leg. It's just really intense. And I'm watching that, and it was like instant flashback. What I wouldn't have given to have those for him back then. And I'm sure that other people have maybe experienced, maybe not as severe or whatever, but different scenarios where like life just happens. Sometimes there's injuries or wounds or accidents or whatever, and to be able to have this as a tool for wound care, literally, and
Yeah.
the different things you guys have seen, I'm just like, it'd be nice to have those handy.
Yeah. And it's not just for wound healing, but for, the way it affected me. I didn't even know I didn't even know I had something, but I had 2 stress echoes, and it actually healed my heart from a right bundle branch block. Totally different than an injury. So when you raise your stem cells, your own stem cells, a lot of good stuff happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, well, thank you for sharing the personal stories. I don't know. I really like personal stories myself because it's not just like this theory or this complex idea. You can actually see how it's played out in people's real life and just like in everyday life. The very first time I ever saw a life patch was when I was at a conference we were producing at the Salt House. We had about 4,000 people there. It was huge. And I saw this one lady, she was limping around all day. I kept watching her limp around. And at one point, the escalators that were near us stopped. And I saw her face just drop when she realized she wasn't going to get help up the stairs. And the LifeWave gal that was there walked over to her, gave her 2 patches. She put them on. And I'm not even kidding because I was just an observer. I was just watching, I was an onlooker. And I watched her run up the stairs, down the stairs, run back and forth up the hall. And she was crying and laughing at the same time. And so then I walked over there and was like, what the heck do you have over here? And that was my first introduction to watching LifeWave. Now I've since become friends with a lot of the researchers and whatnot and studied a lot more about it, but I've been really grateful. So thank you so much for everything that you do. I know you travel quite a distance to help educate and teach people about this. We really appreciate you as well.
Thank you so much. I really enjoy it, actually.
I can tell. That's awesome. It feels good to make a difference.
Yeah, it does.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much again. You guys, there's Midge's information in the comments or also on the screen. So reach out to her and grab yourself a couple for sure. All right. Thank you. Have a good day, my friend.
Hey, thanks a lot, Tammy.
Yep, you're awesome. Okay, I am so excited, you guys, about that. So make sure you definitely reach out to him. I just want to go ahead and say one other thing real quick is that you don't have any obligation whatsoever to getting that live patch. You might as well, even if you can't come to the conference. All right, now our next speaker, I've been perusing through her website and I'm so excited. This is a first time speaker for us. Her name is Janet Young, and I'm going to put her website up on the screen so you guys can check her out, but I'm going to go ahead and bring her on. You ready, Jenna?
I am.
Okay,
Hey.
perfect. How are you, my friend?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing so good. I'm having a lot of fun today.
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to have you here. Now, we've got people that are literally all over the place. So I'm going to have you start out by telling us a little bit about how you got into this, but also how you serve people. And then, of course, we'll have you do a sneak peek of your presentation at the conference. Does that sound good?
Yes, that sounds great. I'm just like noticing myself in the camera. I need to fix my hair.
Oh, no, girl, you look great.
You can tell I'm a first timer on here.
Okay, you're good. You got it going on. That's good. You're good.
Okay, so hi, you guys. Thanks for having me. I am a health and wellness coach. I've been doing this for 18 years. I started as a personal trainer and was having good results with my clients, but I noticed that they were getting in shape, but they weren't, we weren't fixing any root causes, right? I would see them gain more confidence, but then they would maybe slip back when they were done with me. And so I started diving into more mental health with them and more mindset, some meditation and things like that. And their results started getting better and better. And they were losing more weight. They were getting more healthy. They were feeling happier. Their relationships were getting better when we didn't just focus on fitness. We didn't just focus on getting skinny and gaining muscle. And they got those things too, right? But doing the mindset and the soul work really helped get those results faster, plus, expand and really change their life. So I just started going down that path of healing with my clients and then, of course, myself. And then I had a kind of big life-changing event, few years of craziness and chaos. Lost my house to a fire and everything in it. And, the traumatic parts of trying to take 4 kids through that process and keep them happy. And then went through a very ugly and traumatic divorce as well, with a lot of betrayal and emotional and physical abuse that happened in that time. So I was left feeling like now I need to heal. And so I took the time to heal. And in that process of, searching for healing modalities, I found breath work and I found aura and energy readings. And, I found a lot of other things too, but these 2 specifically helped me a lot. And so I have incorporated them in with my clients, and I teach breathwork classes multiple times a month all over Utah, also online and in, one-on-one or these big classes that sell out. Every class sells out because the power of breathwork. People are seeing how it's healing, and it's not just making them feel calm and good. It's actually healing deep root issues, and it's helping them be healthier physically, mentally, spiritually. And then the aura photos, which I'll have at the event, at the conference, at the booth, it actually does a hand reading as well, where we can check in on your energy centers, your chakras, see what's balanced. We can look at your nervous system and see if it's stressed out, if you're in, like adrenal fatigue and your nervous system is just at its end. We can see your masculine and feminine. There's so many different energy things we can see there, which then I take and help you, design a health program nutritionally, physically, mentally, to help heal those issues as well. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. What else can I tell you, Tammy? Help me here.
I love it. That's awesome. I'm first of all, I just want to say I'm so sorry that you lost your house in a fire. I've actually had that happen to several friends that I know, and including I was reading and learning about my family history stuff, and my grandmother, my mother's mother, was just a tiny baby under the age of 1 when her house got on fire, and they were barely able to save her. as a baby. So
Oh,
when I
so
hear
scary.
stories, yeah, when I hear stories, I'm like, oh, like I wouldn't even be here if she wouldn't have been saved. You know what I mean? So I'm like, so I just, anyway, just wanted to first offer like my compassion there. But also, I would love to hear more about the breath work. So let's say, for example, that there's somebody that's watching right now that they're like, man, I've done all this other stuff, but I've never even considered breath work or I've never done that. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about it? Like, because other people are like, well, I just breathe all the time. So how is that healing? So maybe you could talk a little bit more about that. And if you're open to it, we actually have time for you to maybe even do a couple of practice things that people could do at home before they come to your class, if you're open to that.
Yes, that'd be awesome. So the breath work that I'm going to be teaching at the conference, it's at 6 p.m. It is actually probably different than what most people think of when they hear breath work. When I first heard it, I think of like yoga or like meditating and just calmly like slowly breathing in, slowly breathing out, right? And when I'm done talking, I will teach you some of that. Those are usually like pranayamas or kriyas, which I am trained in as well. But the class that I have fallen in love with and that sells out at all of the different locations I teach at, because people just can feel the healing, they can feel the difference, is called holotropic breathing or shamanic breath work or emotional release breath work. There's a lot of different names. They all, kind of mean the same thing, but it is very changing, very transformative. So what we do is we actually do one breath pattern for its work. Okay. So when we hear breath work, a lot of people think it's going to be relaxing, but it really is. You come into it knowing it's going to be like a workout. And we're going to be doing, let me see if I can change my angle and I'll just show you now. But what we do, okay, we have our belly and our chest, and we take most of our, like 80% of your lung capacity into your belly. So you're going to go, and so it looks like you're pregnant, right? You really expand that belly. And then you take the second part of the breath into your chest, and then you exhale it all. And so it's just going belly, chest, exhale, and it's in 3 different stages. So it goes, okay. And we do that over and over and over for an hour. And I play loud music so that you kind of get lost in the music and you're not worrying about how this person next to you is breathing or if they can hear you breathing. And after about 5-10 minutes of doing that breath, like I said, it feels like work for about 5 or 10 minutes. But after that, your body actually releases chemicals called DMT. It's a hormone. It's a chemical that your body has naturally in you. But what it does is it actually goes in and changes your consciousness level. So it's kind of like taking a hallucinogenic, but totally natural and totally controllable. As soon as you stop doing that breath pattern, everything comes back to normal and you're, back to your normal conscious level. But the beauty of having DMT running through your system is that it allows you to heal. It allows you to process and release emotions that you've maybe stuck, that are stuck within you that you can't get out. So a lot of you, I'm sure, maybe have heard of that when we have emotions stuck inside our body, it changes our vibration. It actually blocks our energy centers, our chakras. And when those are blocked, then we end up with a physical problem, maybe something we have to go to the doctor for. So like, let's say if your sacral chakra, so down in your, like where your bladder is and your reproductive organs are, if that energy center has some emotion that, maybe something happened when you were a teenager that made you feel angry and you just couldn't react about it, you had to kind of bite your tongue and hold that anger in, that's stuck in your body and it could be stuck in that sacral area. And so it could be causing bladder infections. It could be causing reproductive issues. It could be causing just low back pain or mid back pain, just whatever organs and body area that energy center is in charge of sending energy and vibration to, it can be affected if we're not getting the right vibration because of that stuck emotion. And so when we do this breath work with the DMT coursing through our body, it allows us to let go of that anger, let go of grief, let go of pain, shame, jealousy. It can even help us release joy, excitement, love, whatever feelings you've been repressing, it will help you release. So this is why we call this breath work emotional release breath work, or the shamanic breath work, because it really is healing and helping you release these emotions. And our bodies are so wise. It allows us to only release what we're capable of handling and processing in that moment, and release what is most important in that moment. So if you're going through a big life change and you need more courage or you need some clarity, that's what we'll process. Our bodies are amazingly wise. And so when we kind of shut off that conscious mind by doing the breath work and letting this DMT bring us into a subconscious process, our body does what it needs to do. And we're just allowing it the time and space to do it during these breathwork classes. So let me know if I answered any of your questions. If you guys are watching, give me some comments or questions on the chat, and I will answer those as well. But
I actually do have another question as you were talking, and I'm like, oh, I don't like to interrupt, but I definitely want to.
Okay.
I'm like, I think I missed something. So what does DMT stand for?
Oh my gosh, I don't even have it off the top of my head, but it's like dimethyl something, but I've been calling it DMT for so long that it's not going to come to my head right at the moment.
Okay, you're totally fine. When you said that, though, I was like, I don't know if I've heard that term or that like abbreviated. What is that? So I'll have to go look that up too.
Yeah,
The other thing is whenever I'm like doing work with people and I'm as a practitioner and I'm working within their heart chakra, the lungs literally are the organ that stores so much grief. And so when you're talking like this, I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's making so much sense. So I have never personally ever done a breathwork session like what you're talking about.
Oh.
So this is what you're doing at the end of the day. Like you're like, this is like, there's a reason why you're closing out the conference. It is like kind of like the capstone event or the experience that people want to like go in and close out with, because then it's almost like everything else that they've done throughout the day, it's just like this, right? Okay, Patrick, thank you. Patrick,
Exactly.
put that word in the comments.
Thank you, Patrick.
How do you say that? Dimethyltryptamine? Mine? I don't know.
Dimethyltryptamine. I was like, I got the dimethyl, but I was like,
It's right there. Okay.
I'm not good on the spot, as you can tell.
No, this is fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to actually turn the time over to you so that you can go ahead and take us through some of this. And we do actually have like another 15 minutes if you're open to that. So thank you so much for doing this. This is so exciting. I'm like learning so much.
Yeah, no problem. So before we do any breath work, I wanted to just kind of touch on what you said. So as you said, Tammy, that the heart chakra is often affecting our lungs. And if you were holding some grief and you haven't been able to process and work through some of that grief, it does cause a physical problem later, right? And so at the conference, I will be having my booth with the aura photos and the energy readings. And I want to just show you really, really quick how cool this is, because it will show us if we do this reading. Let's see if I can do the presentation. Share screen.
Yeah, you go ahead and click on it, and then I approve it, and it takes like 5 seconds. There might be a little delay, but yeah. So cool.
Okay.
I'm so excited that you're going to be doing aura cameras too. I have a question, because you're going to be filling up. Your schedule is going to be tight. So if you guys are watching this right now, you're coming to the conference, make sure you find yourself at Jana's booth in the morning to sign up for a spot so that you for sure get added there.
Yes.
Otherwise, you might not actually get a spot. Okay, there we go. Perfect.
Yeah. Can you see my screen? So this does take like 5 to 12 minutes based on how many questions you have. So like Tammy said, definitely come and get on my list and schedule to do this with me. Every event I do, there's a huge line. So come early. But when we scroll down, it shows, your aura photo and it gives you tons of information. But down as we keep scrolling, this is all talking about the color of this person's aura and what it means for their life. But as you can see, it shows you where your chakras are at. And this person's chakras are pretty balanced. They're all bright and beautiful. But if we were to see any dark zigzaggy lines on this bar graph here, it would mean that chakra was out of alignment or it had a blockage, which could be causing a health issue or a mental health issue. And so I love to do these readings so I can see where the blockage is at. And then we can design the breathwork practice if we're doing one-on-one, or if you're coming to a group, you can set your intention to work on that specific chakra and release that specific emotion that is going along with it. So I'm just kind of scrolling through. There's a lot of information there that we won't even go into because we want to talk about the breathwork today. But are you seeing me again? Perfect. Okay, we're back. And so I just wanted to talk about that, how we can see actually data showing which chakras are off, so you know what to focus on when you're doing your breath work and what you could possibly need to release, right? And then after breath work, you could get this reading done again and see if it was cleared. See if all the work that you've been doing at the conference, because there's a lot of healing modalities here at the conference, you can see if they're working. So before and afters are also awesome. Okay. I do have a question on the chat. It just says, are you able to do the chakras online or in person? They have to be done in person because I have a hand sensor that is a biofeedback hand sensor. And so we actually do read your resonance, the vibrations that are coming from your body. So only in person, but if you don't find me at the conference or you can't get on the schedule, you can always schedule with me at my website, getlivingfit.com. Okay, going back to breathwork. So I think I answered all the questions. So we'll just go into the actual breathwork. Like I showed you before, we do the belly, chest, exhale. It's a very strong breath in. 80% of your lung capacity comes from goes into your belly. The other 20% goes into your lungs. So it's going to be like this. So everyone that's doing this with us here today, let's do 10 of those together. And we're going to go at about that same pace, nice and slow that I was just showing you. Okay. So we'll do that together 10 times. We ready? Hands on your belly, hands on your chest. 1, 2. Good job. So we just did 10 of those. Now, anyone watching, I do want you to put in the comments, did anyone start to feel a little lightheaded? Did anyone start to feel tingles? Tell me anything that you felt with just those 10 breaths, any little side effects. Okay, on the comments, we have a lot of me's popping up. So you definitely started to feel a little lightheaded. And so I wanted to touch on that with you. Dizzy, someone felt dizzy. When we do this breath work, we are laying down. So if you come to this class, bring a mat. I will bring some extra mats for anyone that doesn't have one, but you want to bring a mat, a pillow, and a blanket. and you'll be laying down. So in all of the classes that I've taught, which, like I said, they're chock full of people, and I do multiple every month, I've never had a single person actually pass out. So that is a common fear that people get, but that's just our ego and our body being like, hey, maybe we should change something, right? But if we work through it and we keep breathing through that feeling, that's when that DMT, is the dimethyltryptamine, is released. And so you want to really work through that and tell your ego, thank you for, watching out for me, but I'm going to continue this breath. And there's other side effects that happen as well, because what we're doing is over-oxygenating our bodies. And when we over-oxygenate our bodies, we actually are releasing, or we're actually changing the alkalinity of our bodies as well. So we're raising our pH. And when we do that, it causes some dizziness. It causes some muscle cramping. And usually the muscles that cramp up, whether it's your hands, your arms, your feet, your calves, maybe sometimes it's around your mouth or your neck, those are the areas that need to release something. That's where you're storing an emotion that it's not serving you, right? You're storing something that needs to be released. So if we just allow and get excited when we feel dizzy, when we feel these muscles tighten or any tingling, get excited. That means you're doing it right. And something's going to process. And so if you start to cry, it's beautiful. People cry during my classes all the time. If you start to laugh because you're finally feeling some joy you haven't allowed for a while, beautiful. Allow it to come. Okay. So there's a lot of different things, side effects that happen, and they're the exciting thing. I love to tell people, get excited and keep going. I have a question on here. Let's see. Is it the double breath as we exhale, inhale? What is the double in exhale's purpose? Okay, so what they're asking is if we're breaking up the sacral area of the body. So when we do that double breath, what it does is it actually just forces us to connect and be mindful of the breath. Because in some of my classes, like the one I taught last night, it was a beautiful class. We actually didn't do a 3-part breath. We did what was called a circular breath, which we still go belly, chest, but it's really smooth and like a wave. So it's like the waves of an ocean. Okay, so let's do that one together. And you'll, Patrick, you're asking this question. So I'd love for you to try it and see if you can tell the difference of what it does. So we're going to do belly, chest, exhale, but in one smooth breath. So we fill our belly first, and then our chest, and then exhale. So okay, so it does, in our breathwork classes, we do things different each time based on the theme of the class, the purpose of the class. Like last night, this one that I was showing, which was the circular breath, is we used to do a spiritual awakening, a connection to our higher self and our higher purpose. And you say you do that in your meditations, because that is it's more calming and connecting, where when we do the 3-part breath, like we'll do in class, it actually really helps us connect with our breath a little more. You have to think about it a little more. Does that make sense? And so you're less likely to have your mind wander, and it really increases the DMT that is released, because the way that it expands your lungs, DMT is released by moving our lungs in and out and like really stretching them, and then that over oxygenating. And so what it does is it forces that DMT to come a little faster and a little stronger. So you'll definitely get, by doing the 3-part breath, you'll get more emotional release. So you might heal traumas rather than connect with a higher higher source. So it depends on which class we're doing, if that makes any sense. But yeah. And then I had another question. It says, my chest doesn't pop out, my belly does. What do I do? So it's totally fine. You can try this breath practice when you're laying down, and you might feel it's a little different than when you're sitting up. You're able to really expand your belly and then your chest. And it's okay if you don't actually see your chest move. You know, you've got a rib cage there holding everything in, tight muscles there. So just continue to practice it. Make sure you're just consciously thinking about filling your belly first, and then just 20% of that air goes to fill your chest. So there's not a lot of movement in the chest on that second inhale. Okay, so that's totally fine and beautiful. Okay, so there's so many questions. I love this. It says, imagine the breath as something you can move. The lungs expand, the belly fills. The lungs will always fill. The longer you practice, the easier it comes. Janica is a great starting point. Yes, exactly. So she's just giving those tips on expanding of the chest. The more you do this, the easier it gets, and you'll be able to fill those lungs differently. So it's just really, the visualization is very helpful. Now, in the class that I do, we start with a meditation just to kind of ground you and to set our intentions. And then we start the breath work. And during the breath work, I give you, I don't talk a lot. I play really loud music so that you can kind of zone out. And then I give you a few prompts, maybe 4 throughout the whole hour, to get you thinking of a certain thing, which then just helps you, guide you to what you're trying to release. And I don't, talk a whole bunch. This class is really about you and the work that you want to put in, and whatever you put in, you'll get out. And so I hope I've explained a little bit about it without going into too much, but do we want to do some pranayama, or is my time up, Tammy?
No, I think that this is so fascinating and so good. I was actually just reflecting on before my grandmother graduated this life, right? She had sent me several DVDs about breath work. And I feel like such a fool. Literally, I just thought breath work is like breathing. I don't need that. So I didn't watch it. That was back in like 2005, 2004, I think, actually. I'm like, oh, I'm kind of kicking myself. Like, literally, especially because like I smoked when I was a teenager, like very heavily, and not just cigarettes. And so I literally like, oh, this probably could have helped my lungs and could have helped the vitality and the strengthen my respiratory system, from all of the damage that I did to it. So I love this so much. And I kind of feel like, in a weird way, it's almost like my grandma's, kind of like kicking my butt going, you need to go to her class, you need to listen and pay attention. And I don't know, I want to be able to learn more. So I don't know if you only do live classes or if you actually do sessions with people, or maybe you could talk a little bit more about that as well.
Yeah.
So good. Thank you so much.
Yes. So I wanted to touch on that. You talked about, after smoking, that maybe this can help heal your lungs, and it definitely can. So, how I talked about we're flooding our body with oxygen and we're alkalizing our body. If your body is at the 7.4 or 7.5 pH, disease really can't thrive there. And so the more we can get our body at the right pH level, the more healthy we can be. Our body can function and heal any diseases, or it can get over viruses and bacterial infections so much faster when we are at the right pH level. And doing breath work really does help balance that pH level within your body. When we go through traumatic events, whether it's even just someone calling us a name on the playground, right? It can feel like a traumatic event. We tighten our body. We tend to hold our breath. Even though we don't notice we're doing it, we're changing our breath pattern with every traumatic event or stressful event that happens in our life. So, you don't have to lose your house to a fire or go through an abusive relationship or, have some big trauma in your life to need breath work, because we all have changed our breath patterns by just living life, the society that we live in. And so by doing the breath work, we will heal mentally, spiritually, and even physically. So many people think, oh, I'm just doing breath work to heal, my nerves and I want to calm down. But really, it will help you heal your lungs or any physical ailments as well. It's an amazing practice and we should all be doing it, which is why I teach it. I want everyone to know about it, that they can heal themselves. They don't have to go do, they don't always have to have someone showing them what to do. They can do this in their own home by themselves anytime they want. Okay. But that being said, I do teach classes to, show this, to teach people that they can do this on their own or in a group. So if you go to my website, getlivingfit.com, you can sign up for my emails, where I email out my schedule every month of when I'm doing group classes. And these are, my group classes are in Utah, but I also host an online class every month as well. So just like this, where we're doing a live, we actually do it together online. So no matter where you are in the world, you can do it with me online. And then I also do sell like these pre-recorded ones for really cheap, where you can just do it on your own, and with different playlists, different theme, different intention for each class. And so you can find all of that at getlivingfit.com. And I do also do one-on-ones, because you may need something specific where you're like, I don't want this like pre-thought out one. I have this intention. I'm struggling with this exact problem. I'd like help with it, with releasing these emotions or releasing this trauma. And so we would make an appointment. It's 2 hours long, where we kind of go over what you need and what your intentions are. And I help you process and coach you on that. And then we start the breath work together, just the two of us. And so you can do that online or in person at my home office as well. And you can schedule all of that on my website, getlivingfit.com.
That is really cool. Well, thank you so much for letting us know that too. And yeah, I really like working with people that like really know their stuff. So I think maybe like me personally, I'll go to your class, I'll practice a few times, like with the ones that you have that are kind of like already pre-done. But yeah, I really feel like doing one with you, because I'm like, even as you're like doing that, I'm like, is my stomach coming out enough? Or like I'm like not sure if I'm doing it right, and just so like maybe somebody like who can instruct me, like, if I'm doing it right, like, is this going to be effective? I mean, I did get a little dizzy. I did.
It worked.
So like I was hyperventilating or whatever.
Yep.
This is so good. Well, I personally would just want to say thank you so much for being here for today, for the demonstration that you've done today, and for what you do, because that's literally a big part of why I actually started producing the conferences. I found that there were a lot of people who felt like they were always had to be dependent upon going to someone else. And this conference to me is all about empowering people to have tools and options, but also to like be able to be self-reliant, and
Yes.
doing what you do, you can see how like once you really get into this and you can see the effectiveness and how it's working for you, you can tell that that's something that you could probably just like do on point, right? Like at any time,
Exactly.
I do have like one or two more questions. Do you have time? Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you know, is there like research like that, is this like a evidence-based type of modality or healing method that people have used for something specific? Like I can already tell that it would probably help with something like anxiety, where people feel like they are holding their breath or they can't breathe, probably give them more control over their breath, right? But do you know of any right now?
Yeah. So I should have had these prepared. There's so many scholarly articles and publications with research proving that breath work helps trauma, like trauma recovery. It helps PTSD. It helps depression and anxiety. And then it also just overall well-being as well. And so it is amazing it's life force, right? We're supposed to breathe. Breathing is the only process that is conscious and subconscious, right? Like digestion, we don't think about it, it just happens. But this actually happens without us thinking about it and us thinking about it. It is our life force. And so when we make sure we, breathe correctly, it helps us mentally, physically, and spiritually. It's our life.
It is so cool. Well, I've been really leaning into a lot more evidence-based stuff just over the last, I don't know, probably 5 to 7 years, especially. And I'm on the board for the NCCOEP, which is like basically everybody else on there has 3 PhDs besides me. And so I'm always like, can you digest that for me a little bit? Break it down. Tell me what you just said again, but like in layman's terms. I'm always like, okay, like tell me what that abstract actually said so that I get it, But I'm excited. I'm going to go, and I'm a geek when it comes to this kind of stuff. I can already tell you, I'm going to be like looking at as much as I can. And I'd be happy to share.
I'm the same way. So I got my bachelor's at Utah State in exercise physiology, and like biology and the sciences are like my love. And so that's why I love, evidence-based, and like the aura readings, it's actually data showing vibrations from your body. Like I'm like, oh, there's data and research. And so being able to have that, like the American Psychology Association, and I should have had these ready for you.
Yeah,
but if you Google it, you will see so many reports showing how much breath work is proven to help. And in fact, I was with my ex was going to some, I'm trying to think if I should say their name, but a place in Provo that helps people when they have concussions, right? And their lives are thrown upside down because of brain damage from a concussion. And we're sitting down in the office with a doctor, and she's explaining to us, this is before I got into breath work, she's explaining to us how all these things that she's having him do, nutrition supplements, all these brain challenge games and motor function games, how they're going to help. And she's like, all of these seem to help. She's like, but to be honest, the thing that will help your brain the most and has been proven scientifically is breath work. And I was like, really? Like there's all of these medicines he can take, and there's all these supplements he can take, but the best thing and the thing that shows like actual change in the brain was breath work. So a lot of it was treating the symptoms, but this is actually showing change in the brain. And so when she said that, it just kind of turned me on more. And then as life happened, I was like, okay, this is my medicine. My medicine is breath work. Everyone has a different medicine, but I found mine, and I'd love to share it with whoever else can benefit.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of this event. You didn't know because you probably weren't listening at the very beginning when we started, but I was actually sharing that I had a traumatic brain injury earlier this year. And my main thing is I hold my breath, literally, to the point where I'm like, pass out while I'm driving almost. Like it's pretty intense. I have to pull over and focus on my breathing. So you don't even know that, but like this is going to be so powerful just for me personally.
Yeah, it really is. And I really look forward to watching you heal your brain and your lungs.
Yay!
And I'll be healing alongside you.
Thank you. All the stuff I did to myself and didn't do to myself, right? So
right. That's life. This is what we're here for.
That's right. I'm here for all of it. That's amazing.
Yes.
Well,
thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you as well. You did way above and beyond today for us. We really appreciate it. That's amazing. All right. Well, I, for one, am excited for that class. And if you're watching right now and you haven't seen our schedule yet for the Sandy conference, it is going to be off the charts. It's our pin post on our page. I can't wait for you to go check it out. It's going to be so beautiful. We do have our next speaker spotlight ready to come on today, and that is Christy Whitman, who will be in our biggest room 3 times throughout the day. Now, if you're thinking, oh, I can't go to everything, go to what you can, of course. But if you feel called to go to all 3, definitely do it. I'm excited to go ahead and bring on the amazing Christy Whitman to our virtual stage today. How are you, Christy?
Hi, Tammy. Happy day to you.
Aw, thank you so much. I'm so happy to have you on with us today. I would like to have you go ahead, tell us a little bit about yourself. I'd love to hear about your books as well. You've been so generous. Our last VIPs who got one of your books in their VIP bags were just so elated. They were so excited. I've already heard from several people who've been diving in. I've gotten some pictures of highlighted pages, myself included. I'm like, oh, that's funny. I highlighted the same thing and took a picture and sent it back to the one. So there's all
I
kinds
love
of
it.
yummy stuff going on. Of course, I know that you have personally certified thousands of life coaches. You've been all over the place, definitely on tons of platforms. We are absolutely elated to have you here at this event with us. I mean, I could like go on and on. I'm so excited. You and Beth coming to the last one, getting to know your team as well. They're so sweet. And you guys are traveling
Yeah.
quite a distance also. This is not something, where we get to have you at every single conference, but I just feel so grateful that we've been able to have you at the last few. So thank you so much for being a part of this. I think you're such a beautiful soul. Um, I do want to have you maybe even talk about the differences between each one of your classes so that if people are, maybe they can't be there the whole day at the conference, they can kind of pick and choose based off of those, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to acknowledge you, Tammy, for creating such an amazing conference. I mean, the first one I've ever been to, it was incredible. And I just love having in one place where the concept of energy, whether it's from a psychology perspective or a science perspective or a spiritual perspective, whatever modalities and whatever comes up, we're all in the one place. And that was so fun just to walk around. And, one of the people that you trained gave me one of those, like, I forget what you call them, apologize, but there was like reflexology, but
oh yeah, the foot zone.
Oh my gosh,
She's amazing,
amazing.
right?
Because I'm a foot person, right? So I love reflexology. I love getting my feet. And when she was doing that, I literally had and I didn't even share this yet, but I had this image, this thing I was kind of mulling over in my head about my mom. And I realized, I'm like, you know what? I could just totally let that go. And it came up while she was working on me. And I literally felt it as if it just like a ghost just, like would leave in a movie if you see. And it was just like, wow, I felt so freeing after that. So I just love going to a place where you can do that. You can listen to speakers that are talking about so many different modalities and ways of and alternatives than taking traditional medicine. So I loved what the speaker in front of me was talking about breath work, and totally agree. And the council, who I'm going to talk about the council, would agree as well that, we are so able to just let go of whatever we've been holding on to, because what healing really is, as by definition of the council, it's moving from one vibration to another. And so whether we're healing something financial, our relationship with money, our idea of success, struggling and bringing that struggle energy to that particular area, that's one of the things I'm going to be bringing in the messengers, messages, if you will, from the council on that. So we have one of our sessions is on abundance and success, which is part of our divine design. But how are we bumping up against it? How are we struggling with it? Because as soon as we let go of all those resistant points, we get back in alignment and we feel good. We feel that abundance. We feel that level of success. I mean, that's based on law of attraction, right? It's vibration, right? So that, yeah. So that's one of the conferences one of the classes I'm doing with the council. And another one is on the physical body, on well-being. But here's the thing, is that the council talks about our divine design is well-being, abundance, success, and then loving and supportive relationships. But understanding that all of them interact with each other, because you could have well-being in your money. You could have well-being in your relationships. You could have success in your body. You could have success in your relationships. So it's an interweaving, if you will, of these just absolute God-given divine energies, frequencies that we all have, literally, like as you guys were talking about breath work, right? The very breath that comes in is of that vibration. And then what do we do with it through our own consciousness? You know, am I thinking thoughts that are limited and that don't feel good about money, or about my body, or about getting older, or about me being able to create more success, whatever that means, or
It's
improve a
amazing.
relationship? Sorry?
It's like so amazing that your thoughts can have such an impact on you. And I just love that. I feel like I just want to keep interrupting you. So I'm actually going to pop off and just turn the time over to you.
Okay, awesome, Tam.
Is that
Sounds
okay?
good. Yeah. Great. So, so we're going to do 3 different, when I say we, I'll explain who we are in a minute. We are doing 3 different sessions. We're doing one on well-being, one on abundance and success, and another one on loving and supportive relationships. And it's like I was saying too, it's that we think of loving and supportive relationships with maybe the person that we're connected to, or that we want to bring into our lives, or that we have in our lives, or we want to improve something. We think of usually as another human to human, loving and supportive relationships. But again, just the idea of the things that we connect with in the material world. So let's just say money, it could be food, it could be our careers, you know, whatever those things that we connect in our 3rd dimensional reality. When we are having a loving and supportive relationship with money, and we feel that level of abundance, and then of course that's like a tipping point, you feel the level of success, you feel well, we're living by divine design. But yet so many of us, and myself included, and I still have to find those energy places. Like I was just saying with Tammy, I found a concept when I was doing the foot zone session at the last conference, and it just went away, because it was just having the awareness of it, and then knowing that I get to choose. There was a part of me in my younger days that didn't have choice, or maybe didn't perceive I had choice, or didn't know how to maybe have coping skills from a trauma or a traumatizing energy or frequency in the household or something like that. Back then, my little one didn't know how to master her energy like I do now from the teachings of the council, and what myself and the council, Christy and the council, are here to bring forth. And that's really what we're there to teach at the conference, is that in different sections, but they all spill over. So Tammy's right. If you can't make one, pick another one. But they are going to have very different energies, frequencies that are being transmitted. So in the conference, I am actually taking my personality, Christy, out, and I allow in the council, which I'm going to bring in the council in a little minute so they can just speak with all of you, and you can feel the energy that they bring through and kind of get a taste of it to see if it's something that you want to lean into yourself. So I will be, as some people call it, channeling. I'm, in direct messenger for the council. They're spiritual mentors here to spread the messages of how we as humans can master our own energy, therefore our own physical plane. And so they are high ascended masters. And I've been working on myself for over 28 years. I've been practicing with energy for about 25 years. And each time just really trying to increase my own frequency, increase my vibration. And I have many ways and stories that I share on YouTube or on my website of when they came through. But now it's been over 4 years now. And what has happened is the people that are in the transmission of the council, they themselves feel a higher vibration coming in, accessible to them. And they feel themselves even resonating and feeling better. We actually had one of my team members, and I always tease Tabitha because she's never done any of my courses or any of that, but she gets it by osmosis. I mean, she always is just so there at that same frequency as a lot of my team members, and many of my team members haven't actually gone through the courses, but they rise up into that level of energy. But Tabitha, for example, she really she's able to pick up that higher frequency and has developed with me over many years. And she was with a relative the other day, and we had sent her a compassion box. And all of a sudden, she said she felt this overwhelming sense of comfort come over her. And she was not aware that what the compassion box was, or that it was infused with the energy from the council. She just felt the energy, literally just this warm, calming presence, if you will, or this sense of just a beautiful energy. And so being in the presence of the council is phenomenal. Just doing a call like this, and I'll bring them in, you'll feel it. But in person, that what we're doing for these 3 different times, when we're talking about well-being for the first session, and then abundance and success for the second session, and then loving and supportive relationships for the third session. Last conference, we had people that went to all 3 sessions, and it just kept building and building and building. Because as you come in, we have a tendency of whatever we're coming in with. I don't care if we're someone that does energy work all day long, or if we're lining our chakras, or doing our breath work, or whatever, doing our affirmations, whatever it is. We all come in with a certain level of thought form and what's going on in our consciousness. So as you start to get into that higher energy field with the council, even in just the first session, you start to feel better. You start to feel lighter. That's what most people say. I just feel lighter, right? And then you go to the second one, and it really starts to expand you into a very, very different vibration. And then the third session, as it's building, people were just like, wow. I mean, in tears, they were feeling so grateful and so happy. So it's really quite an amazing experience. So I'm going to go to the council right now so you can get a taste. I know they're very excited to meet with all of you and connect with you. And I'm just grateful that I can bring them through. So give me just a minute to get them. We are here. Hello, delights. We feel all of you. Feel us wherever you are. Wherever in the world you are. Whatever you are doing, feel the energy and the transmission just by us popping in and saying hello. We are utilizing Christy's third dimensional body so we can speak through light language, focusing on really what the journey of life can be like for all of you. Not a should, not a ought to, not a judgment, but the experience. Before all of you came in to a physical body, you were pure positive energy. The soul self, just on the dimension that the soul lives, is pure positive energy. It knows, it lives, it loves love. And that soul part of you, that divinity part of you, which is, as the beautiful speaker before us was saying, breath. Your breath is evidence that you are sourced with the finest source there is. Your breath, it is life force. Therefore, if you are breathing, and we know you are, you would not be hearing us from ears, you would be hearing us in a different realm. You're here breathing in a physical body. Therefore, that is evidence right there that you are here, that you have life running through you. What is life? Life is energy. And energy can never be created or destroyed. It can never be contained. It moves, it flows, it is expansive, it is creative. And that energy comes into each of your individual, you are an individualized extension of life force energy into these containers, these human bodies. That life force beats your heart. You don't have to think about beating your heart. One less thing to do today. Thank goodness. Take breathing off the list too. You don't have to do that. Your life is doing that. All the signs of, if you were to see a corpse, or if you were to see someone next to the corpse that was alive, what's the difference? One is not thinking, they are not speaking, they're not moving. They're not breathing, there's no pulsation, there's no energy, there's no life force moving through that corpse. But there is through you. And in this moment, no matter how old your physical body is, how young your physical body is, if you have breath breathing you, you are here. Therefore, you matter because you are matter. You are important. You are significant. You have purpose in being here, and you are enough. And then, in fact, you are infinitely loved. But all of this powerful life force energy that you have accessible to you only goes as far as you allow it through your consciousness. Now, some of your consciousness is conscious, other of your consciousness is subconscious or unconscious, but the whole totality of your consciousness creates your life reality. And the beauty about what we are bringing forth is that you don't have to go digging up all of the unconscious or subconscious. Just be in the presence with the awareness that you are here, alive, in this moment, breathing, and that you can choose the energy now, not tomorrow. Of course, you can, and you can bring forth energy and have energy meet up with you tomorrow. But the power is now to choose. I am going to choose and decide and bring forth well-being now, and then start to fill up your entire physical body, and beyond your physical body, your entire energy container, letting the overwhelming, in the most wonderful way, of energy, of well-being spill over and in and go into every single cell in your body. Or you can practice and play with abundance or success or love or support. Well, we're going to be playing with that quite a bit at the conference. We want all of you to understand, much like walking up to a piano keyboard and striking a note, you're the chooser of the energy that you bring into your physical body. And as much as you can feel the resonance in a higher vibration, like you are feeling now, some of you are wanting to go away too much of a high vibration. That's okay. We'll see you in a couple years. Some of you are right there. How do I know? I want to go further. Well, come further with us. Come and join us at the conference. We will be there in service to all of you, bringing forth the resonance of the frequency of your divine design. And the more you are plugged into that vibration, the more you remind your mind to think in thoughts of abundance versus lack, to think in thoughts and to hold beliefs and perspectives in a well-being versus sickness or problems or issues. Finding the fulfillment in your relationships versus the dissatisfaction. To be able to feel your creative power and self-expression in your career, in your life, in every aspect of your life, versus feeling like you're blocked or stuck or something's holding you back. Only thing that can ever hold you back is your idea that something can hold you back. You are a divine, powerful creator, breathing the very life force, the very divine creator of all. An energy needs a container to play with. It needs a container to move and to create. It needs a physical apparatus to create in the physical world. This is what you are here to do, to create, to experience, to be, to be alive, to thrive, and to feel good in your own individual experiences of what thrills each of you. Energy healing is not only possible, it is inevitable. And healing on any level, it is moving from one vibrational stance to another. And understanding why is that important? Because every level has a vibration. Every level of wealth has a vibration. Every level of depthness and connection in your relationships is vibration. Every level of support that you feel in your relationships or with the universe is vibration. Every part of your success in your career, what you're wanting to create in the world, has a vibration, and it's all there for you, like having a treasure chest above your head that you get to, like the keys on the piano, you get to choose a vending machine of life saying, today I'm choosing the vibration of joy. And then you get to bring in that joy. You get to bring it into your vibrational container. You get to stretch it out in beyond your physical body. You get to pour it into your future. And we have landscapers around us. So all of you, we are grateful for this time to connect with you and just to say hello. Trusting light. And understand that you are, dear ones, infinitely loved. Be well. Allow yourselves to receive in light. Just breathing in light. Allow yourself to just feel the resonance of how you're feeling now in your body. With the council transmitting energy through words, through movement, through vibration. Breathing in and breathing out. I hear my landscapers. I'm not sure if you all hear them. Tammy, can you hear them? Well, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody, whoever is coming.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't get the thing to turn on.
No worries.
Yes, I can hear them, but that's fine. I mean, you can probably hear things clanking around here too, so you're good. You're good. So thank you so much. I'm looking forward to having you at the conference. Would you mind maybe just touching for just a minute about some of the books that you've written? Because I think it's such a big deal when people have written a book and you have multiple books. And would that be okay? Do you have time to talk about that?
Of course. Absolutely, love to. I'm actually laughing because when I was just at Pilates a little bit ago in this Pilates studio, there was a woman that was working with another instructor, and this instructor turned around and said, "Christy, what's one of the books that you wrote?" And he goes, "What's the name of it?" And she said, "The Desire Factor." And I said, "Yeah, I wrote that." And the woman turned around and she's like, "I'm listening to you and I heard your voice and oh my gosh, this is I'm just listening. This is so incredible. Wow. Talk about manifestation. I said I wanted to meet you and here you are." So I love that. But I've written 7 books. This last one, The Desire Factor, which is the one I was just talking about. All of my books have been downloaded, channeled. This one was definitely channeled through with the council. And so the Desire Factor is the 7 steps to literally understanding how energy sets up to then pop into a manifestation. It is literally like the fine tuning of understanding how do you apply law of attraction, if you will, or how do you take energy and be more of the deliberate creator with the energy. How does it set up? What do we need to do as the physical, counterpart to this energy? What do we need to do to, to create deliberately what we want, to manifest deliberately what we want? So what's interesting is because I've been working with energy and been just a seeker for over 25 years of, energy and law of attraction and all of that. I love that the council put it in exact order because it's not just like manifesting tips. It's literally the order in which energy one precedes the next. It's like a combination lock. You have the numbers go in a certain sequence, and if they go out of sequence, the lock doesn't open. So that was a big, for me, who has been an avid manifester and has manifested pretty much everything that I've desired in my life. I feel very, very blessed and grateful I know this information. And so that's one of them. A couple of other books. It's getting louder. Sorry, everybody. My other book is Quantum Success. This is really about taking the 7 essential laws, because I don't believe there's just one law of attraction. There's other universal laws that we need to apply, specifically the law of sufficiency and abundance. And that's the biggest one. I think that if more people would understand the vibration of abundance and when they're out of it, and how to get back in alignment with it. That's what we're going to talk about at the conference. But all of my work has been about law of sufficiency and abundance. So it's about the 7 essential laws and being able to apply that towards work and money even. And then I have the art of having it all. And
that's beautiful. Well, I want to thank you for your work that you did with all of those books. It's a great way to be able to find out more about you. You guys, I just really went ahead and put the link on Christy's website. I was spending a little bit of time back, like in her back office on her website. I was so pleased to be able to find this one link that talks about her core beliefs, about who she is, about her story. I encourage you guys to go spend some time on her website today. It's fabulous. And it will help you to get to know, because, if you've never seen anybody channel like that before, it may be a very unfamiliar experience for you. And so if you're feeling that right now, I felt the same way too. But as I've gotten to know Christy and read her work and find out more, it just felt a lot better to me. So Christy, I hope you don't mind if I say that, but
no, I love that. I love that honesty, because it's true. It's some people are like, what does she do? Why did she close her eyes and why did her voice change? I mean, it's bizarre. It's bizarre for me to see that, but the wisdom that comes through and the guidance I get, I know it's real. So I'm willing to, put myself out there for this wisdom to come through.
It's a huge thing. I will never forget the very first time that I went to an energy healing practitioner. She just lives, actually, like, I live in a very rural area. There's 400 people in my town, and she literally lives down to the end of the street where the first stop sign is, and then to the right. I mean, I can jump on my bike and get there really easily. So she was pretty close, but I didn't meet her because she's a neighbor. I met her because somebody gave me her phone number and said, take your kid who's having this very physical issue to her. I didn't know she was an energy healer, or honestly, because I put myself in this little box, I probably wouldn't have gone. And I went, and she was rocking back and forth and doing something weird with her hands, which now I know as muscle testing, but at the time I didn't have words for it. It felt uncomfortable or unfamiliar to me. And one session was all it took for my son to have the healing that he needed for this very physical condition. And so, I mean, if something's unfamiliar, does that mean it's right or wrong? Does it mean that it's, no, it may be unfamiliar to you. Maybe you've never witnessed something like that before. And so I say open up your mind a little bit, because who's to say that this is or isn't happening? What if it is? I mean, Christy, as I've gotten to know you better, as I've seen on your website and learned more about your story, I mean, you can tell that the things that you're doing, it's not hurting people, it's helping people. And it's putting the science of what I've come to know as evidence-based into verbiage that is very familiar to other people in a different way. And we all have a part to play. I just want to say thank you for, doing something that's unfamiliar for people, because
Thank you.
that kind of comes along with some people going,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know? And so, like I did with my very first energy practitioner. And after that happened, I was like, okay, I don't know what this is. I can look at that and I can say, I don't know what this is, but I'm willing to open up my mind and learn more. And I'm so glad I did, because after that, I was like, people need to know about this. And that's, pushed me into doing the conferences,
And God bless you for doing that, Tammy. So grateful for you for doing that.
Thank you
So
so much
important.
for being here. I really appreciate you. And
You too.
people had so many kind things to say about going to your classes at the last conference, and again, your books. When you started talking about the very first book, I'm like, that's the book. I had to go at your website to look. I'm like, yep, that's the book. But it's a beautiful experience. And I know that we're out of time, and you probably have something else to get to. I would love to just have you maybe comment on the things that we were talking about, the unfamiliarity. Does that ring a bell for you, like how other people may be perceiving the situation? Do you have any words for them if what they were viewing was a little unfamiliar to them?
Yeah, and I appreciate that you're asking that, because I might not be, or the council, it might not be what you're looking for, but maybe other people are. So that's the beauty about being at an energy healing conference, is that everybody's going to find something that resonates with them. And if you're new to this whole like energy healing thing, just for me, I was too 20 something years ago, and it wasn't on the internet, and it was very woo woo, and it was, very super secretive. And I thought I was crazy, and my friends thought I was crazy, but I knew it felt good. I knew that afterwards, like even at the conference, and I apologize for the landscapers behind us, but at the conference, I knew afterwards how I felt, and so I just kept leaning in, because it just felt good. And that's for me is the sign that it's something to continue to follow, because it felt good. And now, I don't do, and not because I'm against it, I just don't need to do a lot of medical stuff, because I do a lot of I'm taking care of myself through energy work, through whether it's practices like acupuncture or, Rolfing, or,
we'll have an acupuncture dude there too.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, these are all energy things, and everything is energy. And the more that we start to, really realize and understand that we have energy in our body, and that we have energy available to us, how do we then pull that in? So even if you can't get past the concept of what the council is, listen to what they say, feel the vibration that comes in. Let yourself just close your eyes and just resonate with the vibration and the words. And, that's how I started, because I was like, what? This person is, my first teacher was a channeler, and she was bringing in, I'm like, what is happening?
It's so good to hear you say that, because if somebody literally is observing this and going, what is this? Maybe they can resonate with that a little bit and help them to understand.
I remember wanting to learn how to meditate, because, and I've shared this in my story and stuff. I met a woman that was cutting my hair. She had such a totally different energy about her. Didn't have that language. There was something different about her. And I was curious. I'm like, what do you do? And she says she meditated. So she gave me her meditation teachers. It wasn't like, okay, let's just sit in a yoga studio and meditate.
Yeah.
I went to her house, which was like clingy, clangy music all over the place. I was not that kind of, I never listened to that. I wasn't new agey. This is my first entrance into this. Never meditated, never knew anyone that meditated, candles, all this stuff. And then she started channeling, and I'm like, what is happening? And the first thing she said to me was, you create your own reality. And that just was like, that's true. Like I knew that there was a knowledge, there was a knowing inside of me that it was true, but it went against everything I'd ever met. So or known. So my head all immediately went, well, how? Right. And that how has led me to here. And, learning just how to literally manifest, how to be deliberate in creating our own reality, how to choose the reality and the life that we want to experience. And so I'm so glad that I paid attention to that, even though I was like, whoa, this is really bizarre. Yeah. And I remember getting in the car going, okay, that whole experience was so different. Like, I don't even have words for that, but I feel good. So I kept going back because I felt good. I felt better than I did at any other point in my life. So that kept me leaning forward. And so if you even feel a little bit of that, lean forward. Keep leaning into what feels good for you.
That is awesome. I'm going to go ahead and throw up here in the comments the link that takes you directly to Christy's website, where she has her core beliefs written out. And that's a practice that I've recently started doing over the last couple of years, where I'm like shaking everything up, like, wait, what do I believe? What do I believe? And sitting down and writing out all of your beliefs that are your core beliefs is such a powerful thing to do. What are the values that I stand for, that I really cling to, that I hold to? And so I love that you did that. Like, such a good example of being able to do that. So I also just wanted to kind of share that too as well, just because it really resonated with me. And I hope you guys that are like watching and listening right now will also kind of take note of that and check out that link, because I thought it was really powerful. If you've never done that before, it's just such a good idea. And I have a friend who she calls herself a medium, and she does mediumship, and she also does channeling. And at the very onset, when I very first, I'm like, this is too out there for me. Like, I don't know. And the thing that I regret is that I did have judgment about it. And been able to let go of that sense, but also, like, who am I to say that that's not happening?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that is happening. Maybe it's not. But I like your advice, and lean in how you feel with it. And just because it's unfamiliar, you might feel unfamiliar about it, but that doesn't mean that it's wrong.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And if you don't feel good about it, I'm not going to get my feelings hurt. It's like, go to
There's
someone that you do resonate with, right?
Yeah, but you're going to keep doing it because you know that it's right for you. So I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you
helping.
so much. Absolutely. It definitely is. So thank you so much for being here. And yeah, your landscapers aren't bothering me at all. It sounds like, when you're on the phone with a girlfriend, just chit chatting, like doing dishes, and there's background noise, but like, who cares? You can still hear. So it's just fine.
Awesome.
All right. Well,
thank you,
I will
Tammy.
see you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we will.
So happy to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, hon. See ya. Bye. All right. I am going to go ahead and jump off. But before I do, I feel inspired just to share with you guys the link to our speakers for this upcoming conference. If you are looking for a day of self-care and you just want to learn some new ideas, or if you are really like, I just got into energy healing and I want to learn more, or you've been into energy healing for a long time and you want to keep diversifying your portfolio of different modalities that you know about, that you've had experience with, I highly recommend coming to this event happening on November 12th. Sandy, Utah is the location at the Miller Conference Center. It's just off of I-15, about 20 minutes away from the airport. So if you're traveling in from out of state, like many people are, please look at a couple of the nearby hotels. The Hyatt House directly across from the freeway is a great option. So there's literally about 5 other options just nearby there. It's so easy to be able to get to. Literally just a 20-minute straight shot and you're there. Another thing that I just wanted to add is that we do have our VIP tickets on sale right now. You can find those at the link for the website, which is right here on the screen. The conference tickets for the general session are listed at a very low price at about $15 a piece right now. However, we do have some tickets that we are giving away today for free. All you have to do is email me, which that's been going across the ticker there at the bottom, so you can go ahead and click on that. or check that out, Tammy, Tammy at hopehavenevents.com. And you can go ahead and email me, and I'd be happy to send you the link to claim your own pair of free tickets so that you and a guest can join and come along. And you don't have to stay the whole day. If you'd like to, you can just kind of come check it out. There is a schedule listed on our website and also on our Facebook page here, energyhealingconference.com. You can go ahead and look at the schedule and kind of pick and choose through which classes stand out to you the most. Not all of them are lecture style. Some of them are very much experiential learning. Some of them are just like this group session or this group experience. You guys got to witness what Jana is bringing to the table. Jana is bringing some really cool stuff with her breath work. We also have Jess Flores at 9 a.m. is going to be doing a fantastic class about ketamine therapy. Are those of you who are watching live, have you witnessed that before? Have you ever experienced that? Do you know people who have? I very first learned about it with Carol Tuttle, who's one of our other previous speakers as well. And she told me that she had been using it, and a lot of people use it for depression, and to be able to help them overcome things where they're being over analytical in their mind, which I thought was really cool. Other people have used it for anxiety and other things as well, overcoming trauma. So she is a mental health therapist, licensed mental health therapist, and she also does sound healing, and she now is going to be teaching this class about ketamine. That's happening at 9 a.m. We also have a whole bunch of other speakers. I'm personally going to be teaching a basics how to use crystals class, which I'm very excited. I actually have quite a few giveaways. We'll be talking about the different shapes, different uses, and of course there's lots of crystal vendors there at the conference. There's complimentary light therapy. Like, I feel like I could just go on and on. There's massage therapy, foot zoners, Reiki practitioners, craniosacral. Like, there's just so much. I'm so excited. We'll also be having some vendors that will specifically be having items for holiday gift giving as well. So I am so excited. This is going to be so much fun. All right, if you have any questions at all, you guys have got my email right there across the screen. I'll also go ahead and just put it right up here for you, Tammy at hopehavenevents.com. If you are a first-time vendor that is looking to come, please message me, and I will love to tell you some ideas to know if this is a good conference for you or not. We can talk about some of the details. If you are coming and you're a little bit reserved, you're not quite sure if this is for you, I mean, what have you got to lose? You've got there's a little fly thing for this. There is a pair of free tickets right here at your disposal. All you have to do is send me a message and we can get you hooked up. All right, everyone, thanks so much, and we will see you next Friday. Thanks, everyone.